everyone, this is Yvonne from Yvonne Ceramics. Today I'm going to show you how I make 7% and 15% pink slip. Since I'm making 2 batches of slip, I'm using 2 containers here. First, I'm measuring the clay bits in 1 container, and then I do the same for the other container. I'm using a digital scale that I got from Amazon to measure the clay bits. I want to make sure that I have exactly 100 grams, so I break apart some of the clay bits to get to 100 grams. You can find the recipe of my slip in the description below. After measuring my clay bits, I'm doing a process called slaking, where I use room temperature water to cover the clay bits. I'm only using enough water to cover the clay bits. Here is a time-lapse video of the clay dissolving in the water. I usually let the clay sit in the water for 45 minutes. Then I'm wearing a special dust mask while I'm measuring the mason stain. Since I am making 7% and 15% pink slip, I'm measuring out 7% of 100 grams and 15% of 100 grams. After measuring out the mason stain, I carefully pour into the clay slurry. When I am handling the mason stain, some of the fine particles could be floating in the air. That's why it is important to wear a special dust mask. It is also important to get an accurate digital scale, so when you are making another batch of slip, you'll get the same result every time. This is the 15% pink slip batch. I usually get my mason stain from my local pottery shop. Then I carefully pour the mason stain into the clay slurry. After that, I use an immersion blender to blend everything together. Make sure that you're not using your food immersion blender while you're mixing mason stain. You can get a cheap one from Amazon or your local store. I use one hand to kind of cover up the top because it could splatter out everywhere. After blending it smoothly, you can transfer it into your container. Make sure you label your containers because it's really hard to tell after you put them in the container. As you can see, the color looks very similar for the 7 and the 15%. I will show you a more close-up look right now. I will also show you what it will look like after bisque firing. The background color of this mug is 7% slip. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.